Welcome back to Chaos Corner. Let's go up to ringside. Stay live. Live to tape. Retro review. Here in the lounge. With your old buddy. The G.O.C. World Class Championship Wrestling. We're back to covering the legendary feud between the Von Erichs and the fabulous Freebirds. I wanted you to catch the beginning of it so you could hear the crowd, feel the emotion from November 1983. This is a whipping match, a strap match. The Von Erichs and the Freebirds. Again, as in time frame with the videos, I was 21 years old at the time, in college, getting ready to attempt my own career, which we know what happened with that. That's another story for another time. Follow me on all social media platforms. You know what they are. Here on the Guardian of Chaos, the mothership, the YouTube channel. In real time on Twitter, at Big Daddy G.O.C. And the G.O.C. stands for the Guardian of Chaos. Follow me on Instagram, the Guardian of Chaos. On Facebook, it's 2 accounts, J Brony and Prodigio Fidelis El Guardian. Rumble, Gitter, Gab, Parlor. Follow me on Truth Social. I cover it all in the IWC. One man, unedited, unscripted, live to tape concept. No one here, no bells, no whistles. Here in the lounge from my Ponderosa homestead, this is what you get with my over 50 years as a historian, my over 3 decades in the business and still currently. It's a whipping match. They started off with their shirts on, but now everyone is shirtless. It's Michael Hayes, Terry Gordy against Kerry and Kevin Von Erich. This is a tag team bout. Again, we've been covering the legendary feud here from 83, 84. It's been unbelievable. Now Kerry's whipping Michael Hayes like a rented mule. Puts it around his fist into the proboscis. It's Kevin and Terry Gordy on the opposite side. Michael's now outside the ring. Terry's out on the other side. Kerry Von Erich wearing the light aqua blue trunks. Kerry Von Erich wearing the light aqua blue and Kevin wearing the white trunks. David Manning got something to say, always. It was decent for his time in World Class. This was the golden era. David Mercer on the call, along with yours truly. It's me, it's the G.O.C. I'll say that to say this. Thanks for being here, because I tell it like it is. Buddy Jack Roberts at ringside, wearing that headgear, because if you remember correctly back in the day, he lost his hair against Iceman King Parsons in a hair versus hair match. But he's always lurking around as the third member. He was the only one that would travel with him. Remember, he's 10, 12 years older than these guys at that time. They're in their early 20s making money, living the life. Freebirds was a shoot in reality. They were who they were. Kerry Von Erich in tremendous shape back then. He was incredible. Kevin Von Erich, what an athlete. These guys in the 80s were unbelievable. What happened afterwards, that's another story for another time. You're well aware of it. And again, Kerry Von Erich with the strap. All 4 men have straps tied to their wrists. Not to each other, to their wrists. Swinging them around. What a concept for back then. Been played over many times. Kerry whipping them like a dog. The egg-sucking dog, as Terry Funk would say. Who actually said that to me one time before he hit me with that taped fist. Hayes now whipping Kerry. Gordy is in to whip him now. Whipping him down. You can hear it here in the background again at the Sportatrium, whether it's the Reunion Arena, Texas Stadium, doesn't matter where it was, but usually at the Sportatrium, the fans on their feet, jammed to capacity, no railings, 90 degrees in that building. I think it imploded or they took it down in 03 or 04. Do your research. Here's the tag. Here comes Kevin and Gordy now. Whipping it around, whipping it around. Look, even Mercer saying, Kerry, Kevin, Kerry. Upside down, the opposite side goes Gordy, laying in the tree or whoa, and there's Kevin whipping him again like a rented mule. I like that phrase. And now Kevin has turned the ire on Michael Hayes and whipped him off the apron. Hayes dancing around like he got stung by 100 bees. And again, the crowd is right on top of you. All ethnicities, all colors, all vibrations, all cultures, people, men, women. It didn't matter. That's what brought people together because we're all the same. Pro wrestling does that. Not like today's business. Just saying, look at the crowd. Everything you could think of, this is what it's all about. Before WrestleMania, before Vince Jr. hit the scene in this way as a promoter, a booker, and I'm not saying this was the best, but this was the time. Simplicity, keep it simple, a stomp, a punch, it meant something, your maneuvers, being on the apron, actually grappling, telling the story. The fans ate it up so much back in this era, you didn't have to do anything crazy to risk yourself. You wanted longevity. Although the Von Erichs and the Birds worked stiff, especially Von Erichs, that was their style. Strong style before people were talking about strong style. Look at the shape. These guys were athletes. You could hear the crowd. Still with the whips, backing off each other, playing it. Because if you look at the trend of all the retro reviews I've done here, short matches, tell the story, in and out, heat, leave them wanting something for more, territorial wrestling, bring people back the next week as Kevin is whipping Gordy in the corner right now. That's what they did and how they told the stories, the emotional investment, the ring psychology back then. It wasn't all about, I get you have to change with today. Gordy and Kevin Von Erich in the corner. I'll jump off from subject to subject like that because that's what you get in this channel. I'll tell you my thoughts as well. Big clothesline with the whip by Gordy on Kevin Von Erich. Tags Michael Hayes, and here comes Purely Sexy. Who knew all these years later as the wild man he was back in the day in Georgia and Florida and everywhere else in between? He ended up working for Vince for 30 or 35 years. Maybe with the current stuff Vince is going on here in 2022. Maybe that's why. Doc Hendricks, Michael Hayes. It is what it is, man. They lived it backhand. Now he's choking out Kevin Von Erich, Michael Hayes. The pent-up aggression, emotion, it's time back then. The fans, it's palpable. You go back even to the WWF in the early 70s and stuff from the Garden and different venues, big venues, you could see the fans sold out what they were invested in. Now double clothesline with the whips by Gordy and Hayes on Kevin Von Erich. You could hear the crowd. They didn't stop. Everybody popped all the time, and then that led into TBS and the NWA and stuff with Rhodes and the Horsemen and the Road Warriors and how they would pop. I mean, a lot of this stuff is where it started as well. Rock and wrestling, so to speak, entrances, bad boys. If you know what I'm talking about, that genre, what the Freebirds did into the, before the Rock and Roll Express, before the Midnight Express. And here comes Kerry Von Erich. Talk about a guy that's jacked, ripped, shredded. Kerry Von Erich and Kevin Von Erich. And now he's taking over on Hayes. Gordy's in the ring. All four men are in the ring whipping each other, but the Von Erichs are taking it to the fabulous Freebirds right now. This is why this feud was something. Now, the Birds have taken over on Kerry Von Erich. Kevin's outside the ring. There's the bell. Disqualification. Really? All the craziness that's going on in this territory during this day? Good finish, though. Oh, Michael Hayes takes Kevin head first into the ring post. Kerry's laid out in the middle. Hayes and Gordy taking over. Manning tried to separate. The fans are in a frenzy, as is every one of these shows. You don't get that kind of fan reaction. Police ringside are separating people. Kayfabe was alive and well. And now the Freebirds are just beating the pulp out of Kevin and Kerry Von Erich here in this legendary feud. You could hear David Mercer. Oriental Spike once again. You see the theme there with Gordy, whether it was on Brody, the Von Erichs. Kevin's back in. Gordy over the top rope, the big man. Safe, smart, and now Kerry and Kevin have taken over on Michael Hayes. Whipping them, both of them. Hayes like an old dog. Oh. Buddy Jack Roberts, get in there, man. Come on, save him. Hayes still getting whipped up. And they drag Hayes out. Buddy Jack and Terry Gordy. Kerry's holding on. Listen to the raw emotion that I get from back then. Stumbled out and through the crowd like you see Mox doing it nowadays. This was for real back in these days. You couldn't even get to the ring. I know I keep saying these days, though. I get it. Thanks for being here. We'll be right back. Freebirds, world class, Von Erichs. Don't you dare miss it. The Chaos Lounge, Chaos Corner, live to tape. Da-da-da.